I was working at a ceramic tile factory in Olean, New York, when an agreement was reached between Armstrong World Industries and Dow Tile to let them buy a minority share of American Olean. Based on that, I was offered a job in their corporate headquarters in Dallas, Texas, and it would be the fourth move in my short career. Now, as an industrial engineer, I had a lot of experience helping teams solve productivity and safety problems in the manufacturing environment. But in my new job, I had responsibilities to support all the manufacturing facilities around their environmental, health, and safety programs, as well as mining. And I had no prior experience in mining. So when I got to Dallas, I took a number of courses on EH&S and also some mining basics. But with no experience, I wanted to see mining, what was this, in action. So my boss agreed, and he sent me to our Mississippi mining site to work in the field for a few days. Now, heading down to Mississippi, where I'd never been before, I envisioned these large pits and large excavation tools and equipment, much like coal mines. What I found was it looked more like someone's backyard, and we traveled around these fields in a pickup truck looking for pockets of good clay. Now, after about 20 minutes of driving around, we came across a series of metal rods in the ground. I wondered what they were. Bob, the mining operator, told me that what that was what they thought were the boundaries of the type of clay they needed to make the ceramic tile. And I said, well, how do I know what good clay is? How do you know what it is? What is good clay? So Bob had some clay in a bag, and he took it out of the bag and says, here, this is how you tell. And he took a bite of the clay right out of the bag, and then he handed it to me. He goes, now you try it. Well, what was I going to do? I had to try it. So I took a bite and felt that it was pretty chewy, and it had a little graininess to it. Now, I didn't swallow. I kind of spit it out onto the ground. And I said, well, what does that mean? He said, well, what we're trying to tell is the consistency, the moisture content, and the sand content. And this is truly the first screening. After that, when we think we have good pockets of clay, we send samples like this to the lab to verify that it has all the right moisture, right components, and right graininess. Once we confirm it, then we excavate it. Well, I thought, well, that was an interesting way to screen things. Didn't seem very scientific, but did seem fairly logical, especially if you're knowing what you're doing. Now, Tom was working with us as well, and I noticed that he was taking bits of clay and putting them in bags as well. And I wondered what he was doing. Well, it turns out Tom was taking clay samples home to his wife, who happened to be what they call a clay eater, which of course I didn't know what that was. It turns out there are people that have different dispositions to different materials, and they eat clay to kind of make up for the aluminum content that they don't have in their body. So although I didn't understand it nor really have experience with it, I had to respect it, because if that's what helped his wife, that was great. I guess the lesson I learned from all of this is sometimes don't be afraid to sink your teeth into your work. I hope this story provided you with some inspiration to revisit your own processes. I have a lot more I'd like to share. Head over to pi-partners.com to learn how I can help. And check back from time to time for more Kaizen stories.